All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into the world of digital nomads.
Ooh, fun.
Folks working from anywhere with a wifey connection. We've got two really interesting sources to dig into today.
Okay.
One from the World Economic Forum, all about how Japan is trying to attract these digital nomads.
Hmm.
And then another one from Forbes that gives a kind of broader overview of this whole lifestyle.
Cool.
You know what I think is super interesting?
What's that?
How Japan, a country known for like its really traditional work culture,
Mhm.
right,
Yeah.
is going all in on trying to be this like digital nomad hub.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Really shows how this whole movement is changing, the global landscape of work.
It really does.
They're even rolling out this whole new visa
Mm.
specifically for digital nomads,
Oh, wow.
which lets them stay for like 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, double the usual tourist visa.
Wow, that's a big difference.
But there's a catch.
Yeah, there's always a catch.
You have to be making over like $66,000 a year to even qualify.
Oh, so they're not messing around.
No, they're not.
I mean, that tells me they're not just looking to boost tourism, you
Yes,
know?
right.
They want those experienced professionals.
Yeah, it's really interesting. They're being very strategic
For sure.
about who they want to attract, focusing on people who can really like contribute to their economy.
Yeah, make a real impact.
But I do wonder, if that high bar might exclude some digital nomads.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, what about the people who are just starting out,
Right. Or working in fields that maybe don't pay as much?
Yeah,
These
exactly.
are good questions.
It'll be really interesting to see how that plays out.
Absolutely.
But it's clear that they're serious about this.
Totally.
Like Mitsubishi Estate, this huge real estate company in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
they're setting aside 10,000 rental homes.
10,000.
Yes, specifically for foreigners,
Wow.
and many of whom they hope will be digital nomads.
That's wild.
That's a pretty big statement.
Yeah, it really is.
It sounds like they're really betting big on this whole trend.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense though, right? I mean, one of the biggest challenges for digital nomads is finding housing.
Totally.
Flexible, short-term housing that works for their lifestyle.
Right. Not just a place to work, but like a comfortable place to live.
Exactly.
And a place where you could feel like part of a community.
For sure.
Speaking of community,
Hmm.
the article also mentions this cool program in Fukuoka City.
Uh-huh.
It's called Kalev Fukuoka.
Okay.
And they brought in digital nomads from like 24 different countries.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it wasn't just to like work remotely.
Right.
It was to really like engage with the city,
Yeah.
connect with local businesses, and really experience Fukuoka.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, programs like that are so great for fostering those cross-cultural exchanges.
Yeah.
And breaking down stereotypes.
Totally.
It's more than just tourism.
Oh,
It
yeah.
creates real opportunities for people to connect.
Yeah, for genuine connection.
In collaboration.
Okay, so let's talk about the economic side of things.
Okay.
There was this stat in the article that just blew my mind.
Oh, really? Tell me.
Digital nomads in Japan are earning, on average, like twice.
More than twice.
Yeah, the monthly income of Japanese citizens.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money coming into the local economy.
Right. It has the potential to like really revitalize those local economies in a big way.
I mean, just think about it.
Yeah.
More spending at local businesses, new ventures being launched,
Yeah, new businesses.
and, knowledge transfer happening as these digital nomads share their expertise
Right.
with local entrepreneurs.
It's like a boost of energy for these communities.
Yeah.
For sure,
really.
especially for places that are struggling with like, more traditional industries.
Right.
It's really fascinating to see how this nomadic lifestyle is bringing all these unexpected economic benefits.
Yeah, it really challenges our ideas about what it means to contribute to society.
Right, what it means to be productive.
Yeah, exactly. These digital nomads are contributing,
Right.
not in spite of their mobility, but because of it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Their global perspective and their skills can be huge assets
Totally.
for those local communities.
We always picture digital nomads working from like a beach somewhere.
Right. Sipping cocktails.
Yeah, which definitely sounds appealing.
It does.
But this lifestyle is about so much more than that.
It really is.
It's about this whole rise of remote work,
Yeah.
flexible work structures, wanting a better work-life balance,
Yeah.
and the fact that so many jobs these days can be done from anywhere
Pretty much.
with an internet connection.
As long as you have Wi-Fi.
It's a huge shift in how we think about work.
A fundamental shift.
And get this,
Okay.
the World Economic Forum predicts there are something like 73 million digital nomads.
73 million.
worldwide right now.
Wow.
And that number is expected to grow to like 92 million by 2030.
That's a lot of nomads.
That's a huge increase.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder about the future of work.
Oh, yeah. Big questions.
Will companies have to embrace these remote work policies more?
Right. Are we going to see like a complete shift
Yeah.
in how we think about the relationship between employers and employees?
I mean, it's really thought-provoking.
Absolutely.
It seems like this digital nomad movement is just the beginning
Yeah, just the tip of the iceberg.
of this massive change
Mhm.
in how we approach work and life in the 21st century.
I think you're right.
So it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right?
Of course not.
The Forbes article talks about some of the practical stuff
Right.
and potential challenges.
Okay, let's hear it.
You're right. It's not just about, sipping cocktails on the beach.
No, it takes work.
It takes planning preparation.
Resourcefulness.
Yeah, you really have to be resourceful to make this lifestyle work.
Totally. It's a tough one for sure.
Yeah.
No easy answers.
Right.
But I think it starts with like just being aware. Like as digital nomads, we need to be mindful of the impact we're having and make choices that actually benefit those communities.
Totally. And it's not just on the individual either.
No, definitely not.
Governments and local communities need to manage this influx of people.
Right. Make sure everyone benefits.
Yeah, exactly.
Investing in infrastructure, promoting sustainable tourism, and creating those programs that encourage cultural exchange.
Right.
That can help a lot.
Makes sense. And the Forbes article also points out how diverse the digital nomad community actually is.
Oh, totally. It's not just,
Yeah.
young tech people anymore.
Right, not at all.
Which is one of the things I find so interesting about it.
In
You've
fact-
got people from all walks of life,
Yeah.
different ages, backgrounds, professions,
Yeah.
all choosing this location, independent lifestyle.
Yeah, it really challenges those traditional ideas about work and retirement.
For sure.
Like you could have someone in their 20s
Yeah.
building a tech startup in Bali,
Uh-huh.
and then someone in their 60s finally pursuing their passion for photography while they travel the world.
I love that.
It's about taking control of your life
Yeah.
and designing a career and lifestyle
Yeah.
that really aligns with what you want.
Your values, your priorities.
It's really empowering.
It is.
It's like saying, I'm not defined by my job title or my zip code.
Exactly.
I can create a fulfilling life on my own terms.
I love that.
And as technology gets better
Yeah.
and more companies are open to remote work, I think this trend is only going to grow.
Absolutely.
It's not just a niche thing anymore.
It's going mainstream.
So where do we go from here?
That's the big question.
What does all this mean for the future of work?
Right.
I mean, we're still in the early stages, right?
For sure.
But it's clear that the traditional way of working is changing.
Yeah, things are being disrupted.
Yeah, we're moving towards a way of working that is more fluid
More flexible.
and globally connected.
Absolutely.
The World Economic Forum article asks this really interesting question. As more people embrace this location-independent lifestyle, how might it impact
Yeah.
traditional communities and even the definition of home?
Wow, that is a really interesting question. Will we see the rise of these global nomad communities unbound by borders?
Right. And will the concept of home become more fluid,
Yeah.
defined by your connections
Right.
and shared values
Yeah.
rather than a physical location?
That's fascinating.
It's like we're seeing a new kind of global citizenship emerging,
Yeah.
where people are connected by their experiences,
Yeah.
their desire to explore and create a life of freedom.
And purpose.
Yeah.
It really challenges how we think about identity and belonging.
Right. And the role of community in this interconnected world.
Big questions.
This deep dive has given me a lot to think about.
Yeah.
What are some practical things people should consider
Yeah, good question.
if they're thinking about trying out this digital nomad lifestyle?
Well, the Forbes article has some great advice.
Okay.
First, do your research. There's tons of stuff online,
Yeah.
blogs, podcasts,
Online communities,
courses, you name it.
so many resources.
There's this website, Nomad List.
Okay.
It's great for comparing the cost of living,
Mhm.
internet speeds, and all those practical things.
Different cities around the world.
Exactly.
And like we talked about before, financial planning is key,
Yeah, you've got to have that cushion.
especially if you were leaving a traditional 9 to 5.
You want to make sure you can cover your expenses
Yeah. At least for those first few months.
while you're building up your business or,
Yeah.
finding those remote jobs.
Speaking of finding remote jobs.
Yes.
Any tips on how to actually find work?
There are so many options these days.
Oh, good.
Freelancing platforms like Upwork and Fiverr.
Okay.
Those are great for finding gigs.
Uh-huh.
And there are tons of remote job boards out there
Okay, cool.
for all kinds of fields.
So let's say you got the money sorted.
Okay.
You found some remote work.
Yeah.
You're ready to hit the road. What about the practicalities of
Yeah.
actually working remotely?
Oh, that's important.
Any tools or tips you recommend?
Communication is key.
Okay.
Slack, Zoom, Google Meet.
Right.
Those are essential.
For staying connected.
With clients and colleagues.
Okay, what about security?
Oh, yeah, good point.
Remember that time I had my laptop stolen?
Oh, no.
It was a nightmare.
Yeah, you've got to protect your stuff.
Any tips for staying safe while working remotely?
A strong VPN is a must,
Okay.
especially on public Wi-Fi.
Right.
It encrypts your connection, so it's harder for people to steal your data.
Oh, that's good to know. I learned my lesson the hard way.
And it's not just about the tech stuff either.
Right.
Be mindful of your surroundings.
Yeah.
Don't leave your things unattended.
Uh-huh.
And just be aware of what's going on around you.
Especially in cafes and co-working spaces.
Yeah, exactly.
Good advice.
So yeah, it takes some self-discipline and organization.
To be a digital nomad.
It's not all just lounging around.
No, definitely not.
You have to manage your time well.
Stay focused.
Meet your deadlines, all while adjusting to new environments.
I imagine there are some unique challenges
Oh yeah, for sure.
that you wouldn't face in a regular office.
Loneliness can be a big one.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Especially for people who are used to working with others.
Right.
You've got to find ways to connect with people.
Yeah.
Co-working spaces, local events, online communities.
Yeah, good ideas.
And then there's work-life balance.
Oh, right. That's a tough one.
When your office is everywhere,
Yeah.
it's easy to work all the time.
Right.
But you have to set boundaries.
Make time for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, your hobbies, your relationship.
All that important stuff.
So it sounds like this digital nomad life,
Yeah.
while it sounds amazing,
Uh-huh.
also requires a lot of self-awareness
Definitely.
and being able to adapt to new situations and
Isn't it?
challenges.
It's not for everyone,
Right.
but for the right person,
Yeah.
it can be incredibly rewarding. It's a chance to break free from those traditional constraints and create a life that's truly your own.
It sounds like an adventure.
It is.
But let's be realistic for a second.
Okay.
There are some downsides, too.
Yeah, of course.
We've talked about the impact on local communities,
Right.
but what about the impact on the digital nomads themselves?
That's a good point.
All that travel and no fixed routine.
Yeah. It can be exhausting.
Yeah, it can be hard to maintain relationships, too.
Right. With friends and family back home.
Yeah. And what about practical things
Mm-hmm.
like healthcare and taxes?
Oh, yeah, that can get complicated.
I imagine it's a headache trying to figure that all out.
You really have to do your research,
Yeah.
make sure you have the right insurance,
Mhm.
and understand the tax laws in different countries.
Yeah, it's a lot to consider,
It is.
both the good and the bad.
The excitement and the challenges.
It's not something to jump into lightly.
No, definitely not.
You really have to think it through.
Yeah, weigh the pros and cons.
It's not like a magical solution
No, it's not a fairy tale.
to all life's problems.
There will be tough times.
Yeah.
Frustration, loneliness, self-doubt,
Right.
but also
Yeah.
incredible joy, discovery, personal growth.
It's got me thinking, like, what if work wasn't tied to a place?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What if we could design our lives
Uh-huh.
around our passions?
Our interests.
Yeah, instead of being limited by geography.
I think that's the real draw of digital nomadism.
Yeah.
It's about breaking free
Uh-huh.
and creating a life that's truly yours.
It's a shift in mindset,
for sure.
like realizing we have more choices
more freedom.
than we think.
And as technology keeps evolving
Yeah.
and remote work becomes more common,
Right.
those choices and freedoms are only going to grow.
It's an exciting time.
It really is.
What about you, listener?
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Does this idea of location independence
Excite you?
or scare you?
What questions do you have about digital nomadism?
What appeals to you the most? And what challenges do you see?
Share your thoughts in the comments.
Keep the conversation going.
Maybe this deep dive sparked an idea
Ignited a passion.
or just opened your mind to new possibilities.
As you keep exploring this topic,
Here's something to think about.
as work becomes less tied to location,
Yeah.
what will become the new centers of gravity?
Mm.
Will we see digital nomad hubs pop up?
Like purpose-built communities.
Yeah, exactly.
Or will it be more spread out?
People blending work and travel.
Blurring the lines between home and away.
It's a fascinating future to imagine,
A world where work is not a place you go.
but something you do,
Seamlessly integrated into your life.
wherever that life takes you.
So keep exploring.
Stay curious.
Who knows, maybe we'll bump into each other.
In a cafe in Buenos Aires.
Or a co-working space overlooking the Mediterranean.
Laptops in hand.
Embracing the freedom of the digital nomad life.
Until next time.
Happy travels, fellow explorers.